Hi guys, Jarrod here, and I played the PlayStation 4. Hooray! So, basically what happened was, I'm not sure if I explained it well enough in the previous video, but very simple. You were able to download the firmware update, no problem. You could use your USB stick if you were experiencing issues, but I had no issues whatsoever. The issue I had was when I actually went to sign in to the PlayStation Network, because Sony cut the sign-in system, so there was nothing you could do. You just hang there forever, or it would say the PlayStation Network is currently under maintenance, or it would say error code, whatever. And so yeah, so I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited. Thankfully, I had Ratchet and Clank Into the Nexus to review, so I didn't, I wasn't just sitting there doing nothing. I basically just switched my receiver and I kept going back and forth between the two. And eventually, it took around 9 hours before Sony finally started to, well, I don't know if it was them, if they opened the sign-up, or sign-in, rather, system, or if it just worked for me for whatever reason, but whatever. Finally got in, downloaded a bunch of games that I had, and tried out a couple things, tried out a whole bunch of different features, and now I can finally give you my real impressions. So, first things first, I like the interface. It's very simple. It's like the cross-media bar. You have a whole bunch of options at the top of the screen that you can go through, but very, very simple. It's not like you don't have to go, there's no like video, music, and stuff like that at the top. Instead, you have like a secondary bar. I'm sure you've all seen it, and that's where your games go. And if you hear any noise, my cat's just freaking out. So yeah, you have like your different games. It's just one long, continuous row of, well, titles and features. That's where your music would be, videos, stores, like everything is there. I'm going to show you all of this later on because, some good news, thanks to Ahmed, I found out that there is a workaround to get direct feed footage out of the PlayStation 4. It basically bypasses the HDCP, which is preventing me from just taking an HDMI port and going into my capture card. So it should all be here by around Thursday or so. So that's great. That means you can expect video reviews for all the PlayStation 4 titles that I get and I have and whatever. So anyway, so I started with the two free games, the two free downloads, which if you're a PlayStation Plus member is Resogun and Contrast. I wanted to try the different features out on the system. I mean, after all, it's a brand new system. It'd be kind of cool to do, right? So started with the share, and it's interesting. You can share to Twitch or Ustream, but if, like I don't know Ustream very well, but Twitch I know. You can like basically post it to Twitter or to Facebook, letting your fans know or letting your friends know or whatever that you're about to stream something, and then it works perfectly. It even shows you like on the side of the screen. It shows you a little I don't know, a little block out saying, oh, like this person's watching you, that person's left a comment and whatever. If you have the PlayStation camera, you can even like do voiceovers on it. It's really cool. The downside is it doesn't actually archive to Twitch, so that kind of sucks, but whatever. Like I said, now I have the workaround for the direct feed footage. It doesn't really matter. I'm just waiting for all the equipment to come in. I'll do a video on how to do that, well, when it all arrives. So yeah, that was cool. The fact that you could share your stuff to Twitch. I did just a very small, like I think it was like a 6-minute video on the first level of Resogun, and I posted that to Facebook. And as long as you click HD, the quality was actually really good. It wasn't bad at all. But again, that doesn't help for review purposes. But it's a cool feature. I think it's a really cool feature. I think you guys are actually going to really enjoy that. I like the fact that on the user interface, there's the very first box, if you will, is a, what is it? It's what's new or something like that. And it basically shows everything that your friends have done. And it's really cool. It's actually really, really, really cool. Because if you upload a video, they can watch it right from their PlayStation. You can see what games your friends have purchased. You can see what trophies they've unlocked. All kinds of good stuff like that. But there are a few weird things I've noticed. Like, for example, I've seen games get downloaded and installed, yet on my notification bar or like menu or tab or whatever, it tells you like, oh, please install the game. I'm like, I'm already playing it. Like, what the hell? So I don't know, weird little things like that. The PlayStation Network itself is still really wonky. Like, you'll get signed in and out like constantly. Well, that's because of the traffic. Something weird though with trophies I've noticed is they still don't auto sync. When you click on the trophy button, well, actually that's a lie. They do auto sync, but you still have to sync them. In other words, it doesn't do it in the background. Like with Xbox, well, at least with the 360, where you just get a trophy and I guess behind the scenes it would automatically upload to the server. But here, when you click on the trophy icon, you'll see a little bar say syncing with server or something like that. And then you're good to go. You can compare with your friends and all that jazz. I really like the fact that they added that percentage now, so you get to see that, you know, maybe 1% of all the people who have synced their trophies have this one trophy you have. I think that's kind of cool, and it makes you feel like, oh wow, you know, I'm special. What else? Let's talk about the games themselves, because in terms of features and stuff like that, there's truly not much this system can do. It's nowhere near as robust as the PlayStation 3 was, which is a little disappointing. Very limited multimedia features currently out of the box. Plays Blu-ray movies just fine. Apparently it doesn't do 3D, but I don't have a 3D TV to test that, so yeah. What else is there? I haven't tried Music Unlimited or the video store because I have no real intention to. I would store all my music on an external hard drive and plug it in, but it can't read them, so kind of limited there. Anyways, games, right? That's what the PlayStation 4 has been all about. It's about the games, about the games, about the games. Well, it truly is about the games. They really highlight that, and it makes it very clear in the user interface. I mean, the very first thing you see, you don't see ads everywhere or whatever. You see what's new, and it's all the game content that your friends are doing, and I think that's pretty damn cool. I won't lie. So, Resogun, first game I played. Fantastic. Probably the best game I've played on the PlayStation 4 right now, and hopefully I've been saying PlayStation 4 and not PlayStation 3. I don't know why I have the PS3 stuck in my head. But yeah, that's the one that's like it's basically a cylinder. There's how you're playing. Okay, wow, that doesn't explain anything. It's a 2D shoot 'em up, but where you move left and right. Except instead of moving left and right forever endlessly on some, you know, like background or whatever, you can move in a cylindrical fashion, but it's always a 2D plane. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. I'm gonna do a review of this one for sure because I think it's actually the best game on the system right now. Just like billions of particle effects, and it's just really fun. It plays a lot like Defender, if you remember back in the day. That's the one, like, I tried the share features, worked great, and it's interesting because on the DualShock 4, you've got your share button there, and it works really, really well. The way, it's a really simple system, basically. Start your game, press the share button once, and it says, do you want to upload your video? Do you want to take a screenshot? Blah, 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 blah. You can just do nothing whatsoever and exit out. But once you exit out, if you've already pressed the share button, it's going to continuously record your last 15 minutes of gameplay so that you can just hit it again and then say upload video, trim it, and away you go. And it works perfectly. It works absolutely perfectly. If you're into that sort of stuff, which I'm sure many of you are, I expect to see tons and tons of videos now on YouTube and places like that eventually. Because right now you can't upload to YouTube, which is kind of silly because YouTube is the world's largest video site. In fact, it's one of the largest sites, period. But for now, I expect to see tons and tons of people live streaming on Ustream and on Twitch. And I'm positive it'll come to YouTube soon enough. So Resogun was a very fun game. I've really enjoyed what I've played so far. I'm up to the second, third level, something like that. I just messed around, just wanted to get a feel for it. And I want to say controller is fantastic. This is a significant improvement over the DualShock 3. I kind of wish this thing was fully backwards compatible with the PlayStation 3 so that I could just go ahead and play with this on the PS3. Speaking of which, this is the first time I've truly felt annoyed with Sony because, well, at least at launch, because my PlayStation 4 does not play any of my games from PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 1. To a lot of you, that might not matter, but to me it does, because I have Ratchet & Clank Into the Nexus, I've got the story DLC for The Last of Us, and let's not forget Gran Turismo 6 coming out later this year. That's a lot of like amazing content that I don't want to miss, and I'm sure you guys are interested in my thoughts or curious to see maybe video reviews for those. And it's extremely cumbersome now because now I have to keep my PlayStation 3 active at least or active connected at least for the end of the year, so for another month or so. But that's annoying. Like if they had backwards compatibility, I could have just popped the discs in and away I went. So that's unfortunate. Anyways, back to games. So Contrast is one that's really, really unique. I only played for a very, very brief amount of time, maybe like 10 minutes or something, because I can only play the PlayStation really late at night, because by the time I got in with the sign-in issues with the PlayStation Network, it was like I was basically playing like this, like falling asleep. Anyways, it's unique. You play as a little girl's imaginary friend who happens to be real and can go between the real world and like the shadow world. And it's basically a puzzle platformer, if that makes any sense at all. That's it. Really creative. I know some people were saying it's a little buggy and this and that. I haven't really noticed any bugginess, but being a platformer, I do find your character jumps. When she jumps, she goes like, wee! And she's really light in the air. She doesn't really feel like she has any weight to her. So those are my two favorite games right now. Then I tried Assassin's Creed 4, and I gotta say, I don't know, I haven't tried Call of Duty yet or Battlefield 4, but if you waited to play these games on the PlayStation 4, I don't know how impressed you're actually going to be, because outside of sharper textures and some different graphical effects here and there, and maybe like an improved draw distance, it looks exactly the same as the PlayStation 3 one. There's just very minor incremental differences. But just to give you an idea here, when Serena came home and she looked at the television, she was like, "Oh, you're playing this again?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is actually on the PS4." And she was like, "It looks exactly the same as the PS3." There are differences. If you see it side by side, you'll definitely see differences. There's no question about it. It's just, as expected, these games haven't been reworked from the ground up. In other words, like the characters don't feature 10 million more polygons and stuff like that. It very much feels like the PlayStation 3 version, which I put in a lot of time, so I would know. So I'm curious, do you guys have you played, say, Battlefield on both the PS3 and PS4, or have you played Call of Duty Ghosts on the PS3 and PS4? Because if you have, is it the same thing? I'm just going to assume it is, that it's just very minor incremental increases in like graphical prowess and stuff like that. One thing though, I want to mention very quickly, load times are significantly improved on the PlayStation 4 version of Assassin's Creed 4 compared to the PlayStation 3 version. So that's cool. And that's about it for now in terms of games. That's all I've played for now. I have to finish Ratchet & Clank Into the Nexus, which you can expect over the next couple of days. That's my next video review. And then hopefully the equipment for the workaround for the HDCP arrives so that I can get some PlayStation 3 video reviews done prior to the Xbox One arriving on next Friday. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure exactly what's going to happen here, but I'll keep you guys posted. One last thing I wanted to mention that I thought was kind of neat was with the social media features. Some of the linking in you can do is neat. You can link into Twitter, but you don't really have many options in terms of what gets posted. At least I didn't see any options. Just said, okay, your Twitter account has been synced. And for Facebook, you can decide, like, if only your friends see, if friends of friends, if it's public, all that jazz, what exactly they see, like your purchases, your trophies, your shared videos. That's all I put. I didn't bother with everything else. There was no point, because I don't want my Facebook wall like flooded with like different trophies and what I'm purchasing, and I've never been one for that sort of stuff. But what's something that is kind of neat, whatever profile picture you have for your Facebook account, you can actually sync that with your PlayStation Network account, but you have options. Like for me, the only people can see my profile, like my actual face, are my friends. So the way that works is you have your friends list or whatever. You can actually say real name. What was it? It's like an invitation for real name. So instead of seeing like Elder, you'll see like Jarrod Nickel, for example. Stuff like that. And it works two ways. So like I'd have to send it to you, and then you have to send me the exact same thing. We both have to say yes, and then boom, you'll see my full name. But I think my profile picture, I could be wrong, but I think my profile picture works the exact same way. Like you'll still see my little icon for the PSN, and that's like just the people I've met online that I don't really know will see that, but my actual face will go only to those like my friends or whatever. But I'm not 100% sure how this stuff all works. Keep in mind, I only played the machine for 2 hours, 3 hours tops before I like collapsed from tiredness. So that's it. Those are my real initial impressions. I gotta admit, right now Sony still has a lot of work to do here because the PlayStation Network is just all over the place, and because of that, you're not really getting the full experience just yet. I will do a full-on like hardware review of the PlayStation 4 at some point, but those are the types of things I prefer to do that like next month or something like that. You know what I mean? Like when enough people are online and we get an idea of just how stable the experience is. Obviously, it's not fair to judge it on day one because it's a modern day machine, and unlike years ago, there's just millions of people trying to access all this content at the exact same time, and so there's a lot of little hiccups here, there, and everywhere. So what do you guys think of the PlayStation 4? It's now, as of the time of this video, by the time you see this, is probably the next day following the launch of the PlayStation 4. So, yeah, what are your thoughts? What are your initial impressions? What are you impressed by? What are some of the features that you're kind of disappointed by? By all means, leave me a comment. I'd love to know. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll be back soon with another video. There's the cat. There's the DualShock. It's around, yeah. Let's see what he'll do. Absolutely nothing. He's like, get that away from me.